On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, crowdsourcing do's and don'ts. So welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and with me as always, your financial coach, George Corbello. How you doing, George?
I am doing well. It's still the same, but helping some clients out. Summertime can be weird because there's always this midway point, how we're doing with our debts or savings or any of the goals that we set from a money standpoint. So summertime can be a lot of temptation of like trying to, we got to go out. We got vacation. We've been working so hard. We deserve something. So for a lot of things that I would say for my clients, the motivation is like stick to the plan, stick to the budget. We understand that there's moments where we want to do something, then put it in the budget. Give yourself the grace to be able to, have the vacation or, again, local, stay small, and those kind of things. But this is the time where is the discipline there to get you through and get you really started on the journey that you're trying to do. Again, are you serious? How serious are you on your journey in these moments?
Well, and I think a couple things to that. I think that's a really good point. The other thing is now that we're into July, we're into the second half of the year.
Yeah.
So what did you do? What goals did you set at the beginning of the year? What things did you want to accomplish at the beginning of the year? And how are you progressing towards that? And if you haven't made progress towards it, you've got 6 months to get there. The other thing is, and I fall into this trap as well. I budget for, food and mortgage payment, and I budget for, going out money, and I budget for utilities, and I budget for all that stuff. Yeah. But I always forget to budget for back to school supplies, which we're coming up here in about a month. Yeah. I forget to budget for summer camps, which, we just finished all of our summer camps.
Right.
I don't, so when you're creating your budget, November, December, January, remember to put in there, hey, I'm going to need, for example, I'm going to need I think in November or December, I'm going to need the next semester's payment for my son to take the private bus that he takes that buses him to and from his school. So I'm going to have to budget for that. Yeah. So what things do you get during the year? What expenses do you pay during the year that you can kind of write down and remember, hey, wait a minute, I got to budget for that for next year. Yeah.
So there's a few ways to do that. Obviously, knowing your annual expenses. Again, it's easy to be like annual subscriptions, things like that but you're right. There's big costs that happen throughout the year. What I recommend with a lot of clients as well is there opportunities to save little each month in a cash flow account that allows you to prepare for those type of bigger expenses as well. So if you're thinking, hey, this is going to cost me $500, it's easier to go 500 divided by 12 and anticipate these type of expenses and save that little by little than it is to go, hey, in November I got to budget out 500. So there's just little and I actually say the same thing about vacationing. Say the same thing about certain expenses that require those bigger amounts, travel, things like that. Have an account that's separate, where you're saving little by little each month, so that when those big expenses do come, you're prepared for them. And again, we're not going into debt in order to get those things done.
The way that I do it, I have my paycheck split. So the bulk of my paycheck goes into my checking account so I can pay my expenses. But then I have a little bit of money that goes into my savings account every month. Yeah. Now, what I do is when I get done with what I know, because I schedule out all the auto payments, everything. So I can tell you right now how much money I should have to get me through the end of the month. Yep. Anything above that number also gets dumped into savings.
Got it.
So if an emergency expense came up, I know it's in savings, and I know the minimum amount that I'm, so I know that by the end of the year,
here's what we can do.
I will have saved up X. And to the extent I've saved more than that, it's for emergencies, it's for vacations, it's for better, Hanukkah presents, it's, whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's, we want to, and you're doing it where it's more of automated, right? You just like kind of set it and forget it kind of thing, which is fantastic when it comes to savings. Because a lot of us, we don't even the last thing we'll do, we'll get to savings. We'll get it to eventually. And I think we just, again, little things like this, little changes like this allow us to be able to handle those types of situations a lot easier. But that's, again, how disciplined are you? And I agree with you. Halfway through the year, a little bit over now, halfway through the year, have you, what goals have you set? We know a lot of them failed, 4 days after resolution, right? After New Year's, it's usually 4 days and we're done.
There you go.
Right. All the goals are all, at least my weight related goals are gone by then. But there's no, late to start or can we still make it? You got 6 more months from the end of the year. Yeah. Why not? Let's look at where we're at, make an assessment, and make some changes.
The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Oh, love it.
So speaking of, one of your goals could have been, one of your resolutions could have been to focus more during the year. You know how you can do that?
Yeah, I think you're about to tell me.
You can take a magic mind shot at the beginning of the day, and that'll help you focus throughout the day. I mean,
Absolutely.
That's what I've been doing to help
Absolutely.
me, especially now. So as you're listening to this episode, if you listen on the day it comes out, as you're listening to this episode, I will be very, very sad. So last week's episode, I was very, very happy because I was about to go on vacation. This week's episode, I will be very, very sad because I will be coming home from vacation.
More sad. It was great vacation, right? You feel great. You feel rested.
It was Disney. How could it?
I don't know how you're gonna be vacation at Disney.
I don't even want to put out into the universe what I was about to just say, but it's Disney. So, but
Disney in July. Let's put it like that.
So, but what I was talking about was focus.
Focus.
And so, Magic Mind Shot in the morning helps me focus all day. I'm sure I will have one on the morning that we have to go there so I can focus on packing and getting ready and getting everybody out of the house. I'm sure I will take one on the before the drive home.
Absolutely.
So I can, because even though Tampa and Orlando are only an hour apart,
if you're lucky.
70 miles-ish, 80 miles-ish apart as the crow flies, you still have to deal with I-4.
Yeah.
And for anybody who lives anywhere near Florida, I-4 is just a fancy parking lot.
It's a beautiful parking lot.
It's a beautiful parking lot.
Three-lane parking lot each way and every day.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure that my magic mind will help me focus as I try to get the family home. And then I'm sure I will be taking some Magic Mind on Friday and over the weekend to get caught up from being out for a week.
Correct.
If you want to order your Magic Mind, it's done great for me. It's been great for me. If you want to order some, you can go to magicmind.com/crushing20. That's also the code crushing20. That gives you 20% off either of your 15 or 30-day order, or if you want to do a subscription, it gives you 20% off your first month of your subscription. So thank you, Magic Mind, for being a guest, or being a sponsor rather.
Yeah.
Not a guest, a sponsor of this week's show. But what we're talking about today is crowdsourcing.
Yeah, so a lot of it's just a sign of the times, when we talk about, and what came up to me was crowdsourcing for paying off debt. But we know that there's a lot of opportunities from a crowdsourcing out there in regards to helping with medical procedures, helping out with, debts, vacation. I've seen crowdsourcing Hey, want to take a really nice vacation, crowdsource. Now, again, I'm not saying, ethically that's one thing, morally, whatever, but we are seeing an uprise in crowdsourcing, helping the community, because I look at crowdsourcing as well as opportunity to be able to help the community itself. Someone in a community needs, they're in assistance, they need something. It's an opportunity to be able to help them in their time of need.
Yeah, when my wife got sick, it was an interesting story. So I remember when we first made public that she was sick. I mean, we got her diagnosis in November of 22, but I think we really went public with it January, February of 23.
Right.
We really went public with the diagnosis. And I remember it was actually kind of funny. If a friend of hers said, I want to start you all a GoFundMe.
Okay.
And my wife was against it. And her friend said, well, let me create the page. Let me send you the page so you can see what it looks like. And then if you're comfortable with it, we'll release it. And my wife reluctantly said, okay, fine, let's do it. Well, in order to send the page to anybody, it has to be live. And the woman that created the page for my wife didn't realize that. So the page went live.
Already live.
And sent it to my wife. And I think by the time my wife looked at it, it already had like $1,500
okay.
of people. And random people, would just see that, here's mom, 2 kids, husband battling cancer, and they, $50, $100,
right.
$500, whatever it was. But it already had some money in it. And so, what I said to my wife is, look, this is not us asking for the money.
Yeah.
This is somebody that wants to do something nice
help.
for us.
Yep.
And if people want to donate, they'll donate. I said, look, I'm not going to promote it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it in networking. I'm not going to do social media posts about it. But if people find it organically and they want to give to us, let them help us out.
Sure.
We ended up getting, I want to say, I don't recall the numbers, but I know it was easy 5 figures.
Okay.
I want to say it was somewhere in the 15 to 20,000 range, I think. Some of that money I kept and I donated to the Pan Can, the Purple Stride.
Right.
So I gave back some of the money that we got towards pancreatic cancer. A lot of it went towards her medical bills. A lot of it went towards her. The challenge is when she got diagnosed, and then she got to the point where she wasn't able to work anymore.
Right.
We suddenly went down to a 1-income household.
Yeah,
and so some of it went towards that. Most of it went towards her medical bills. I remember somebody started a second GoFundMe. Mm-hmm. So there are actually 2 GoFundMes going for my wife. The second one, I don't know if you recall 2023 in, I think, April. Yeah, it was. It was Easter. It was Easter weekend of 2023. We took that 1-week trip to Arizona. Mm-hmm. So somebody started a GoFundMe specifically to fund that Arizona trip. So that's what we used that money for. Which was a fantastic trip.
Right.
Made great memories. My sunglasses are still the ones I wear today are from Arizona. But I will say, as the recipient of a GoFundMe, it was tremendous. Now I don't know. I don't think we used any of the money towards paying off debt.
Right.
I don't think any of it went towards paying off debt. Now, if you want to say, to the extent it went to medical bills,
well, that prevented
meant
debt.
That we had money to give to debt.
Yeah.
But we didn't specifically say we're going to use
here's
this
a
money
GoFundMe
and pay
for
down
that.
a chunk of debt. Right.
Yeah.
So
and it wasn't you starting it. Obviously, friends, people around you who cared for you itself used that opportunity to be able to let's get you the help.
Right.
That you're either they're looking at in the future, like you're going to need some support and help from it, and here's one opportunity to be able to do that.
Now, here's what I will also say on the show for those of you listening. If you want to, my wife is gone. For those of you that don't know, she passed in December. And so I think those GoFundMes are still up and running, but here's what I would say. Please do not donate to them.
Right.
And the reason that I say that is I believe the bank account that it was tied to, I've shut down.
Okay.
So if you donate to those GoFundMes today, we will not get the money. I will also say we don't necessarily need the money.
Right.
One thing that happened when my wife passed is that the boys started getting Social Security benefits.
Right.
So we don't need the money. Yeah, it's always nice to have,
of course,
but we're not in a place where we're struggling to keep up with the day-to-day bills.
Right.
So for those of you that want to give, either give to PanCan. I put the PanCan link in every episode, in all the show notes of every episode. You can go to the pancan.org, PANCAN.org, and look for My Legacy Striders. That's our team. You can donate to that team. So if you are so inclined to give to the GoFundMe, I very, very much appreciate it, but there are other ways to get it done. Go to PanCan, go to the Crushing Debt Patreon page.
Right.
There's plenty of other ways to donate if you're interested. But yeah, so again, as the recipient of a GoFundMe, I can definitely talk about how well it did for us. I would disagree with using a GoFundMe just to pay off debt. To me, that wouldn't sit well.
It feels a little, it feels a little, and there's a lot out there. Again, I've done some research, and you have a few that are specific to debt. You have vacation, pay off school loans, student loans, helping. I've even had, and again,
if Biden gets reelected, we'll pay off student loans.
Okay, let's not mumble our way through that one, buddy. We'll see. We'll leave that alone.
This is not a political show. This is not a political show.
But I agree with you there. I think it's there's opportunity to be able to use these, and I look at it as and talking about debt and all these kind of things, more that we can contribute to the communities. We want to help the communities out. Here's an opportunity to do that. There's a lot of places we can donate money, donate time, donate food pantries, anything like that we can help the community. for me, the crowdsourcing is a way to be able to help individuals in those, and you know who you're donating to. Again, supposedly who you, because that's where I get a little concerned in regards to there are a lot of those types of GoFundMes, crowdsourcing, things like that. And you have to do, again, it's funny, previous episodes, do your research. You have to do certain research to kind of say, is this going to the person or is this going to the organization that you truly are donating to? Is it going to help them directly?
I mean, that's good. Another reason that I would not want somebody to donate to a GoFundMe for my wife, not only because they're no longer tied to our bank accounts, but, who knows?
Yeah.
If somebody could, and I don't know, but who knows if somebody did or could have set up a fake GoFundMe using my wife. Because the interesting thing is, and I don't know because I didn't set up either of my wife's GoFundMes, but I assume you could tell GoFundMe to send the money anywhere you want.
Correct.
So somebody theoretically could put a page up that says support the Yesner family.
Correct.
Have the money go to them, and I don't even know who that person is, nor would I ever get a penny of that money.
Correct. And I think that's where we understand that there's a lot of scams and a lot of fraud that's out there, even in this type of donation and this kind of situation. They're, again, prying on people's emotions. And that's the other thing, too. You talk about, people are stressed with work and stressed with life and stressed with, and now they're sick and all of these, it's all emotion. So we have to, even in these kind of moments, you have to kind of take a look. It's great that you want to support, but is it going to the dog foundation? Is it going to the person you're trying to? That's the only thing that I would be careful of when it comes to, the crowdsourcing. Now, would you create it for yourself? That's the other thing. Like, I don't know if I'm in tremendous amount of debt. Am I gonna turn to the community and say, hey, I've put myself in a situation. Can you please help?
There might be a level of embarrassment there that I don't know that I would ever be able to go to the community and say, hey, XYZ happened and I've got to pay off this bill. I mean, I guess I could foresee it if somebody had a really bad situation and ended up going into foreclosure or, something like that. I guess I could see it. And I haven't, honestly, maybe I should jump on GoFundMe right now and type in. Let me do that. Let me go into
time.
Let me go into GoFundMe right now.
Just to see.
GoFundMe.com.
Very exciting that no one can see you typing this, but I love the.
No, I hit the wrong button. I don't want to start a GoFundMe. I want to
search,
and let me search foreclosure. And let's see what happens when I search foreclosure.
How many?
Enter. Oh, here. Help save Melissa's family's home from foreclosure. $12,350 raised. Support Michelle's fight against foreclosure. $4,338. Bedridden 81-year-old and her family at risk of foreclosure. $1,600.
Wow.
Help Misha save her home from foreclosure. $3,400. Help save our family home from foreclosure. $10,900. God, there's a ton of them.
Right. And this is where, once again, for me, this is just telling of where we are today in society in regards to there's a lot of people struggling.
Here's one interesting. Hope and faith, 3 surgeries, cancer, tragedy. But it came up when I did a foreclosure search. The title's too long, but I bet you it is because of all of these things. I'm losing my house to foreclosure.
Right. So medical debt, and that's what we had said. Medical debt is one of those that's the highest, right? That goes into that forces people into foreclosures, forces them into situations where can they afford to manage their dailies on this. But this is where
God, there are a ton of them.
Yeah.
There are a ton of them.
Now, look for
here. It says showing 48 of 500 plus results.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the sign of the times, man. I think economy-wise, there's folks that are struggling out there. Depending on the situation, I get it. But do debt relief now. So you did foreclosures.
Well, and I will say before I leave foreclosure.
Yeah.
Here's one for $12,000. Here's one for almost $11,000. Here's one for $24,000.
Right.
But most of them are a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000. It's
Right.
not enough, not a lot.
Right.
So what was the other one you wanted me to search?
Debt forgiveness or debt, like debt, paying off debt, just debt.
Well, so all I did was type in debt. So now here's one. Support so-and-so's funeral expenses and his family, almost $48,000 raised.
Wow. Okay.
Help my family escape from war in Gaza, 22,000 pounds raised or euros raised. Save someone's life, urgent help needed, $273,000 raised.
Saves. So again, the title is very, not specific.
I actually want to click on this one to see what the heck it is. Hello, everyone. I'm so-and-so's close friend. I'm organizing this fundraiser because she urgently needs help. I'm a Columbia graduate and a practicing lawyer in Vancouver, a big-time advocate for human rights. She lives with severe, intractable chronic pain. She's a young woman with debilitating spinal damage, neurological and autoimmune immune disorders. I'm not going to read this whole thing.
But there you go. It's just
it's for her medical. She lives in the U.S. where healthcare is very costly, and GoFundMe is set to Canadian dollars
to help with those situations.
Oh well, that's 273 Canadian dollars. So that's like what, $25?
Right. But but dude, save life. Like just like it's such a urgent. That urgency in regards to that. But yeah, this seems to be the way to turn to be able to get the financial support that you're looking for.
Here's an interesting one. I typed in student loans.
I figured that one would be the next one as well.
Paying off student loans, help me overcome my student loan crisis, help me pay off student loans, all these. So here are the numbers that have been raised to help people pay off their student loans. You ready? $60, $265.
No, yep, okay.
$100, $79, $30, $45. I can't find it. Here's $1,100.
I mean, what's the thought behind it? What do you think the thought is behind student? We create our own, right? We signed for the amount of debt to be able to go and do college. So the fact that we're kind of like, I need help paying off something that I probably should have done more research or chose wisely.
Right.
That's where people again, like you did this.
Right. I think that's that's what we're seeing in terms of these GoFundMe fundraisers is you incurred the debt.
Yeah.
You need to pay. I mean, I get it if something bad happens.
And that's the other thing. I mean, I think
incurred this debt.
That's the thing. Like medical debts, those kind of that stuff we can't. Those are uncontrollables. And again, living in a certain areas that I get that. But student loans or even debt, like credit card debt itself.
I typed in credit cards. $380, $200, $20, $10, $5, $20. Now here's a big one, $5,700. But the caption is support so-and-so's recovery from emergency surgery.
Right, so medical again. So is it?
Here's one. Help me cover my insufficient funds and credit cards. $5 raised.
Well, it's still got to work towards that negative number. Holy.
But,
So again, is the but this is the way we're turning, is to kind of like turning to the community to be able to provide the support and help. Again, in some instances it makes sense, and some I'm just like, again, we got to take responsibility. Yeah. In regards to how we're managing and what we're doing. And again, I still worry about fraud. I still worry about a lot of scammers out there that are really, using these types of stories, medical, someone's life, these kind of things itself to be able to take money from people, that obviously are wanting to really help others in their time of need.
Now, I did look up my wife, and her 2 GoFundMes are still up.
Okay.
One raised $18,000. The main one raised $18,000.
Right.
And then the one that they kind of started for our vacation ended up raising about $14,000, just over $14,000. So we got, what is this, 32?
Can they take it down to is there a way to just stop them? Because you're right, they're not linked or they're not needed anymore. Yeah. So wouldn't you want to
I don't know. I mean, I didn't put them up, so I don't know.
There's it is. Okay.
Now looking at it, it looks like the last 11 months. Okay. The last donation to this one, and the last donation to the other one Yeah, 11 months, 1
Gotcha,
year, 1 year,
gotcha.
1 year. So,
So they're not at the high. You have to be looking for them. But you're right. The fact that they're still there to be able to donate, I guess, is the $1 million. For me, it's more of like, we want to prevent from others,
right.
To donate these, especially if they're not going to be used or it's not tied to an account,
Right.
or it's not going to go. Again, it's a different cause. It's a different time now.
So that's
Interesting.
That's GoFundMe. That is the great world of GoFundMe. But there are other crowdsourcing things out there. There's we use Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon is a crowdsourcing platform.
Yep.
To help offset some of the costs of the podcast.
Absolutely.
So that is another crowdsourcing. There's also Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my understanding of Kickstarter is that it's more for business opportunities.
New ideas. Yeah, a lot of new ideas. I've seen a few. If you're your collectibles, if you're like, oh, I'd love to have this type of collectible, we can, put the money together to be able to get enough for production. Okay. So there's a lot of those types of crowdsourcing if you're hobbyist or anything like that too.
Well, and I think with Kickstarter, if I remember correctly, with Kickstarter, if the thing doesn't launch,
Correct.
You get your money back.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I participated. I know some of the podcast stuff years and years and years ago. There, Chris Kremitzos, who's one of the bigger podcast community supporters, gurus, whatever, runs the Podfest, runs the local Tampa meetup, whatever. He helped create a documentary about podcasting. Can't remember. I can't believe I don't remember the title of the.
You'll get in the show notes.
The thing. I'll get it in the show notes. The Messengers.
There you go.
So he created this documentary called The Messengers about podcasting, and I supported that Kickstarter campaign to raise the money to fund the movie about podcasting. So I've done that before. I also learned about one recently called Raise Right. So we have in one of my networking groups a ministry called Victor Newman Ministries. They help feed the homeless, and so that is another kind of back to basics. Rather than giving these people money, you can also donate your time. You can also donate your ability. I mean, I've told Victor Newman if they want to have free seminars on getting out of debt, that I volunteered you to participate.
That's fine with me.
So, but they work with a website called Raise Right, and so what Raise Right does is you can go and buy gift cards, and a portion of the money that's raised on the purchase of the gift cards goes to the specific nonprofit. I think it's got to be a nonprofit, but it goes to the specific nonprofit. So one of the things I did before we left for Disney, I went to Raise Right. I bought three $50 gift cards for Disney, 50 for my two boys and one for my niece for them to spend at Disney. And I think something like 3% of the $50 gift card goes to Victor Newman.
Yeah.
But the gift cards themselves are still worth $50, so the kids can spend them at Disney. So they get the $50. I pay the $50. Victor Newman gets 3%. I think of the $50. But they have other stuff on there in terms of Raise Right. They have Dave & Buster's was on there.
Right.
I think DoorDash was on there. There's some bigger names.
Name brands.
Local restaurants were on there. So you can go buy gift cards. You're not paying any more money than what you would pay normally to buy the gift card.
Right.
The company is actually giving the discount and the donation to the nonprofit through this Raise Right. But that's another one. You want to talk about the funny one that we found?
Yeah, it's yes. I want you to at least have the voice. But yes, but what? Before we get to that, I think the big thing, generosity and wanting to give back is a big thing as part of these. As part of what we do with money. The big thing, obviously, being out of debt, being able to be able to contribute back to the community is a big thing.
Right.
And I think that's another lesson as part of, like, if you're, a lot of people are the nature is to be a giver. You want to give, you want to help family, you want to help the community, you want to help the church, whatever is important to you from that standpoint. Again, this is another situation where please, get your debt together, get control of the debt. Get a budget together that allows you to be able to give more. Because that's the other thing, too, is as much as we want to be generous, you can't do it if you're if we're not doing really well
Right.
with our finances. So that's another reason to wanna really get yourself in a position to be able to give back. So
Well, and there is something to be said for, a portion of my pay is going to go to savings, a portion of my pay is going to go to this, a portion of my pay is going to go to that, and a portion of my pay is going to go to giving back.
You have to. We want to be more, but if you don't set a budget that allows you to do those kind of things, we'll never save, we'll never give, we'll never do any of those. We'll never get out of debt.
Yeah.
If you don't set some of the budget to actually do those kind of things.
I remember when I first started the law firm, one of my first offices, I worked out of the office of a pair of real estate investors.
Yeah.
And one day I'm walking outside to go to my car, and I see one of the investors that owns the building has like a bag of pennies.
Okay.
And he's just literally throwing pennies out into the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
And I went, dude, what are you doing? He said, you feed the parking lot, it'll feed you. He was kind of a crazy dude.
Okay.
But I made more money at that office by myself starting out than I think I've ever made in my life.
Really?
And he would just toss out pennies into the parking lot. Now, it also attracted some homeless people that wanted to pick up pennies. But that was his philosophy.
Interesting.
You feed the parking lot, it'll feed you.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Okay,
whatever.
Well, hey, to each their own.
More power to you.
I like it. We'll put some pennies out in your parking lot. Get some.
Get some. There's a high school across the street. We'll get all kinds of high school kids picking at pennies. Yeah,
now you got to put nickels and dimes, guys.
The thing that I wanted to do was kind of super glue them to the concrete and then watch people try to take them.
You're mean. All right, let's get to the funny. What's the crowdsourcing that we see on TikTok for funny memes?
Yeah, I deep dive in reels every day. My kids watch YouTube, and when I can't get control, although now I will tell you, we have a 7th TV in the house. My in-laws bought my youngest son a TV. For
really? More? Okay.
So we've got 7. You can go to almost any room in my house
and there's a
watch
television.
a TV.
Oh, bathroom's next.
So anyway, I'm surfing through. Have you seen the reels with the guy that does the Skeletor from He-Man?
It's the greatest. Well, again, aging ourselves a little bit here, but yes, I do remember. Yeah,
it's start like that. So I'm surfing one day. We tried to find it for you guys to play, and I'm sorry we couldn't do it. But
let's see if we can get it for the show notes as well.
We'll see if we can find it. But I found one that said, remember something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was something along the lines of, remember, when you tip your waitress, you're helping the restaurant crowdsource their salary. And I thought that was so appropriate from our episode a couple weeks ago about tipping.
Tipping, I totally agree. It's as much as it's funny. But if you think about it, a little true.
Yeah.
A little true. Behind the yeah, you again, the internet always wins. Remember that. It always
was hilarious.
Wins.
It was hilarious. And if you haven't seen that skeleton, what was it? His name is Isaac something or other.
Not Wells. That's it.
Okay.
Isaac Wells.
Yeah. So if you want to find that and do a deep dive and just laugh one day about all the funny stuff,
got a lot of good Skeletor ones. He's got a lot of good stuff on his page. So yeah, it's not
hilarious.
Not bad.
But other than that, I will be maybe listening to this episode as I drive home crying from Disney. And then
because you had such a great time.
Yeah. If not, I'll be listening to it on Friday as I try to recover from being at Disney.
Or crying.
Yeah, or crying as I try to recover from being at Disney. But I think that will do it for this week's episode. I do want to remind you all again, Magic Mind is our sponsor. You can go to magicmind.com/crushing20. You can enter the code crushing20 for 20% off. It will help you focus. It will help you get through those rough days.
Yep.
It will not give you the same sugar crash. It will not give you the same caffeine high. It'll just help you focus. And who couldn't use a little bit more focus?
Absolutely.
Our longtime friend, our longtime sponsor, Sam Cohen with Attorneys First Insurance. If you know an attorney or title company and you want to help us out, you can help out Sam by referring him an attorney or title company that needs E&O coverage, malpractice coverage. You can contact him, Sam, at attorneysfirst.com. Again, we gave a plug for our Patreon page, patreon.com/crushingdebt. You can crowdsource the production here of the podcast.
Absolutely.
Other than that, anything else?
I would say give a follow on Cabello Financial, Yesner Law on the socials. It will. I always like to post some good tips and some good videos out there as well. So definitely give a follow since you're going to be looking for the Skeletor memes anyway.
And I probably will be. I was always against posting pictures while I was out of town, but my sister suggested I do it just to show people that, we miss my wife. I think about her
Absolutely.
every day, but we're doing well. And so to post some of the pictures of us having a good time. So look for those on social media as well.
Awesome.
So other than that, we hope that you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. And we will talk to you in next week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast.